continuing finally my video series on the submissions from the match between my Video Listens Club and the Chess.com Espanol team match, and I'm making videos for those that won both their games. A lot of people won both their games and they didn't read and pay attention. I can't make a video unless you submit the game. And I'm going to close this down here shortly as the match just completed. And I apologize, I couldn't do this for a long time. I keep meaning to, but I'm going to get them done now and close this down. So let's have a look at this game. Correspondence chess, you should be looking up the opening. Now, there's a great chance to learn theory and get a grandmaster position from the opening. So bishop c4 is a playable move, but it's not white's best choice. Okay, play main line, play d4, okay, and follow theory and get a satisfactory position. So white doesn't really accomplish much. Now here he's trying to get d4, in which he could do right away, and he doesn't. And now black strikes in the center, and the bishop is tempoed and needs to move. And here I think bishop e7 was a better move, and you'll see why in a moment. So white seems to blunder here, but what white needs to do here is just stop and check. That's why bishop e7 was a better move. Now the rules of chess say you have to get a check. So here white's best or black's best move would just be to put the bishop back, and black has lost the tempo. If you put the bishop on e6 to block the check, knight here comes in, and white is going to steal the bishop pair, and for what it's worth, and give black an isolated pawn or a backward pawn on this file. This happens a little later, but let's get it done now. Now, white's biggest problem in this position, and let's just back it up. Here's white's biggest problem right here. Okay, nothing is moved here, and the bishop can't move. So aside from giving the check, white needs to be getting these pieces out. So, advance the d pawn so you can develop the bishop, so you can develop the knight, so you can move the queen, so the rooks are connected, and get into play. If you don't bring your army into play, how are you going to win a war? So, white commits a thing which, if you're familiar with a blunder, which if you're familiar with my videos, happens all the time. I call it the internet defense. Okay, h3 basically serves no purpose whatsoever to improve white's position. It's a horrible move. Now, I've already determined, this is created on the internet. That's why I call it the internet defense. There's no book that recommends it. People aren't reading books these days. It's designed to keep bishops and knights out of these squares here, this little red square. Why? Bishops pin knights, and knights come down here and deliver forks. But you see, it's totally unnecessary. And one of the reasons why it's not good is because black does not have access to d4. So let's show you a better continuation for white. Okay, give the check, and this is black's best. Now go ahead and play d4. Now suppose white castle or black castles. Okay, he needs to get that done. Now black can develop his bishop. Okay, now suppose white pins that knight. Okay, now knight here. And development is pretty much even. Both sides develop 4 minor pieces. Both sides have castled. White has a rook in play. Black doesn't. Black could play rook e8, and the back ranks match. The position is pretty much even. Now, these are not the only lines. Black could have thrown this in, could have made an exchange. But let's see, maybe here, maybe I've got a little mistake here. Maybe d4 is under duress here. Let's see. So pawn takes, yeah, pawn takes. We could steal this. So I have to make a correction here. So the moment he plays bishop g4, let's just stop and take this. Okay, now there's a target, an isolated pawn, but the game, the game remains about even, and just continue with developing. And black can make some threats. Maybe he could play queen b6 and pressure this, but but white will find resources. Okay. So h3, it doesn't help white at all. And, people are continually doing these moves. It weakens this square. If a bishop is on this diagonal, or queen, this pawn is defensively pinned. Black could place a piece on g3. Okay, so let's go forward. Now bishop e6. I would have castled, but this is acceptable. And now d3. And black is putting all his pieces into play. And look at white. These guys still haven't moved. We're moved at move 10. Had white selected a book opening and used the tools available that you may use, all those pieces would have been developed. They had a much better position. Okay, so knight bd2 shuts the bishop in. Now you're targeting f4. So knight f1 to clear a spot for the bishop. Now black develops this rook. Now d4, so he's lost a tempo. Black could consider c4 here, but he chases the bishop. And now here, black kind of admits his mistake and brings the knight back. So white, in effect, has gotten a free move out of this. So, white could go threaten a checkmate. Okay, this might not have been a bad move. Let's look at this. Knight queen d3. We have to cover this. We don't have bishop f5. We just lose the piece. And if knight f6, suddenly here comes bishop g5, and now white is threatening to win a piece. So what are we gonna do about this? Well, let's see. We can always throw the knight into e4, I suppose. But if we don't do that, we're look to be in a little bit of trouble. But here, what am I doing for white? Well, I'm getting his pieces in play, which is something he didn't do. You have to be aggressive in chess. So let's get to the right position. So here, black just brings his knight back into play, covers the threat on h7, and then so this knight has moved 3 times to capture a piece that's moved once. And after this exchange, black decides, well, I'm going to open up the F file, and this file does come into play. So, now what's white got? Well, this is his queen's knight over here. It's managed to slide over, so it still needs to find a better post. And the bishop on c1 remains undeveloped. The queen is undeveloped, and as long as that queen and bishop are in the way, the rook won't come into play. So it chooses to move a knight again. Now black tries to activate his game, get all of his pieces into play. This swings the knight over towards the king position, and white makes a 1-move threat. Black defends, and here he is moving his knight again. And, he's just not happy with where it's at. White refuses to put his pieces into play. So black now creates a discovery. The bishop is now protected. If the bishop moves, queen takes f2 is trouble. So white weakens his position in order to defend that bishop. His king is getting loose. Goes after the rook. White decides to keep the rook on, or black decides to keep the rook on the file by blocking with his knight. And here white's making some exchanges, but he's just delaying the inevitable. Now the bishop must flee, and it's all over because check. King has 1 legal move, and now mate is forced. There's no way for white to avoid checkmate. He gave up his queen, and after knight takes, black is threatening mate in 1 on h2. So white can throw another piece away, block the diagonal with knight g3 or knight f4, but it's all pointless. So this game ends rather quickly, and black wins. But he finally got his pieces into play, but a little too late. So this is an example of how you don't want to play chess. You want to use the books and get a satisfactory open. Well, thanks for watching. I'll make another video of R2 K Mo's other game in just a moment.